Hi guys, so today I'm going to be filming my March book haul. March is not quite over yet, but I'm making this video now in the hopes that I won't keep buying books this month. And today I have 9 books to show you. Some of them I've already read, but here are all the books that I got in the last few weeks. Is an arc that I requested off NetGalley last Monday, I think, and I completely lost my shit when I got approved for it, and I'm so excited. I've already read it, and it was amazing. It's Hidden Huntress by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the sequel to Stolen Songbird, which, if you guys know anything about me, you probably know that I am absolutely hetery as love with Stolen Songbird, and I am so excited. This book only comes out in June, and it's March now, so like I read it now. It is so good. I loved it so much. I'm gonna film and do a proper review on this a little bit before it actually is published, so it's kind of more pertinent then. But spoiler alert, it is totally amazing, and if you haven't read Stolen Songbird yet, then you're missing out. So go watch my book talk on that one book, and I hope I can inspire you to also read Stolen Songbird, because seriously guys, you should. The next book actually won through a giveaway by Book Geek Movie Freak, and the price was like pick a book at a certain price from Book Depository, and so I chose Rebel Belle by Rachel Hawkins. This is another book I already read. This book is basically about a girl who is like a really good student at school, and she's like the perfect Southern Belle basically, and she has just one nemesis, and his name is, I think, David Stark. And one day she finds out that she's actually a paladin and that she's tasked with protecting him, the guy she really doesn't like, and then that turns into a whole thing. But overall, I was a little bit disappointed by this book, actually quite disappointed. I had heard so many great things about it, and it doesn't live up to those, but it was still a fun, enjoyable read. The next book, I don't actually remember if I hauled this yet, and that just kind of came to my mind, like, I don't know if I showed this in the video yet, so I'm just gonna do it. If I'm rehauling it, then I do apologize. The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd. This is actually sort of a retelling or a reimagination of The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells, which I haven't read yet, but it's on the top of my list of books that I'm gonna buy in the near future because I really want that, as are the sequels to this book because I really enjoyed this. This book is set in the London of the past, and it's about Juliet Moreau, who has to kind of work at a hospital and make a living for herself because her parents, her mother died and her father was scandalized because of rumors that he's a doctor, and there were rumors that he has been employing like very immoral methods, and that he's been doing things that normal people shouldn't be doing, that are unethical and things like that. And then he had to flee, and she thinks that he's dead already. And one day she runs into her old childhood friend, who turns out to be still working together with her father now, and together they go to the island where her father is, and where he's been doing experiments on animals and humans, and where he's just been doing a whole lot of very creepy stuff. Personally, I really enjoyed this book. It is dark, it's creepy, it's all kinds of good things. So yeah, I'm glad that I bought this. So I actually recently just realized that I don't read a lot of non-fiction, and I kind of want to change that a little bit. So I also got Black Like Me by John Howard Griffin. This is a kind of a diary of John Howard Griffin himself when in the year, like late 1950s, I think. And he kind of performed an experiment where he dyed the color of his skin black. Through various methods, he kind of turned the color of his skin darker and then tried to explore the lifestyle of black people in that time through like authentic means, I guess. And I found the premise to be incredibly interesting. I think the idea of performing an experiment like that to be absolutely fascinating. This is quite a heavy subject, so I'm trying to like read it slowly and like digest it properly, and not, you know, it's not the kind of book that I think anyone should blast through, but it's really, really interesting so far, and I definitely recommend this book. Another book that I don't typically buy is a book on poetry, and these are Robert Frost's poems. It's just a collection of his poetry work. I really, really enjoy a lot of his stuff. I think I got introduced to him through Twilight, actually, because the Fire and Ice poem is the beginning basically to Twilight. It's like right there where the chapter starts, and that kind of just clung to me, I don't know, and I really liked his poems, and so I thought I'd just buy the collection. I don't actually like read poetry on a regular basis, I don't really know how to like fit reading poetry into my reading schedule, I guess, quote unquote, because you have to sort of read it in a special mindset, I think, and I just like sometimes occasionally like browsing through, and I found a few poems I really like. I think my new favorite one that I found is A Considerable Spark. It's just so witty and so just intelligent, and I really like it, and I'm excited that I now have like a collection, and so I can like look through it whenever I want. Another book I read this month was The Winner's Curse by Marie Rudkowski, and so of course if you've seen my video on bad reading habits, sequels, I'm a sucker for sequels, and so I bought The Winner's Crime, which, I don't know, by stroke of sheer luck, I finished the first book the day that this came out in paperback, and so I immediately went ahead and ordered this and read it right after. If you didn't know, the first book is about a general's daughter who can either choose to get married or to enroll in the military, and she doesn't want to do either, kind of. She wants to be a musician because she's really good at playing the piano, and one day she is at a slave auction and she kind of wins the auction for a slave, and you know, they kind of get a relationship going in a way. They start to kind of become allies and stuff like that, and then, you know, it's the typical YA fantasy, we need to overthrow the kingdom, and then rebellion, and yeah, things like that happen all over the place. Overall, I really enjoyed this book, obviously, because I got the sequel, and yeah, I already read this and also really enjoyed it. The next book I also already read, because I've been literally in a reading marathon recently, and like all the new books I've just been devouring, so this is kind of almost a wrap up, I'm sorry. I got Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is another fantasy, another YA book, basically set in a world where there's reds and silvers, so some people with red blood in their veins and some people with silver blood, and their silvers sort of have special powers and they rule over the reds, and they're very poor, they live in like little villages, they have to either work or they'll be sent to the military to fight in some war, like a Borderlands war, I guess. Not Borderlands. not quite like the game. This book is centered on Mayor Barrow, who is of red, and by certain events she ends up at the king's court and as a servant, and by another string of various events she discovers that she has powers just like the silvers, even though her blood is red. The king then forces her to be betrothed to one of his sons to cover up the fact that she's a red, and they kind of portray her to be like a long lost silver princess and stuff like that. I actually read a Goodreads review recently that mentioned that this book is kind of a mixture between The Selection and Graceling, and oh my god, it's so true. So if you enjoy both of those books, you're probably gonna enjoy this one as well. And then the last two books I got this month I'm most excited for, because last weekend I read the first book in the Mistborn Trilogy. I finally came around and did that, which was so overdue, and oh my god, I like literally fell in love. It was love at first sight. Final Empire is my baby, and so obviously I had to get the sequels. So I got The Well of Ascension as well as The Hero of the Ages, and these books are very long, but I managed to read the first book in like 2 days. So I'm hoping that I'll get through these before March is over. At least that's what my heart wants. I don't know, I probably have to do other things besides read these books in the next few days, but I really don't want to. Anyway guys, so that's it for my March book haul. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, and I'm gonna see you next time. Have a lovely week. Bye! And the queen then, the queen? What's the queen? The queen is like a mixture between queen and queen and king. The queen and the king. I can't speak. What are words? I don't know. This book is centered around Mayor Barrows, Barrow. And by another string of certain events, she and various members of the court notice that, and by another string of various events, fuck, I can't speak. Anyway guys, so that's it for my March words. What is wrong with me?